Power is not a means, it is an end, said George Orwell. But what if the pursuit of power isn't about ideals, ethics, or justice? What if it's simply about securing and maintaining control by any means necessary? The idea of a ruler who does whatever it takes to dominate, whether through manipulation, coercion, or cunning, is one that has been in the air for centuries. And if we take a closer look, we find that the roots of this mindset trace back to one of history's most influential and controversial thinkers, Niccolò Machiavelli. His ideas, though written in the Renaissance, continue to shape political strategies today. In a world where power plays out on a global stage, where leaders carefully navigate both domestic and international challenges, Machiavelli's legacy looms larger than ever. But is his advice still relevant? Does the Machiavellian philosophy of the ends justify the means apply to modern political systems and international relations? This essay will explore Machiavelli's legacy, the rise of Realpolitik, and how these age-old ideas have become pivotal in shaping our world today. Welcome to the Unfolding Journey, the place where history, politics, and philosophy intersect to give you new perspectives on the world we live in. Here, we explore the untold stories, the ideas that have shaped civilizations, and the lessons we can learn from the past to better understand the present. Whether you're a history enthusiast, a student of political science, or just someone interested in how the world works, you've found the right channel. If you're passionate about exploring the deeper meanings of our modern world, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more thought-provoking content like this. Now let's dive in. Niccolò Machiavelli, an Italian diplomat and philosopher, is often remembered as the father of Realpolitik, a political system focused on pragmatic and often ruthless decision-making. Born in 1469, Machiavelli's career unfolded in the volatile political landscape of Renaissance Italy. A man of his time, he observed how power, corruption, and ambition dominated the Italian city-states. Machiavelli's most famous work, The Prince, written in 1513, lays out the rules for maintaining political power. His observations were stark and blunt. According to Machiavelli, rulers should not be concerned with morality, but with success. The central message of The Prince was clear. The preservation of the state and power justifies any means: deception, manipulation, betrayal, even violence. In his own words, the ends justify the means. This pragmatic approach to power raised eyebrows. While Machiavelli wasn't advocating for tyranny or dictatorship per se, he believed that rulers needed to make tough, often morally ambiguous decisions in order to secure and maintain authority. But even more important, Machiavelli emphasized the need for a ruler to understand the changing tides of fortune and human nature, something that still resonates in today's leadership strategies. While Machiavelli's theories were rooted in the political context of 16th century Italy, his ideas found new life in the 19th and 20th centuries, giving rise to Realpolitik, a term used to describe politics that are governed by practical considerations rather than ideological or ethical concerns. Realpolitik refers to a style of politics where diplomacy, military power, and pragmatism are emphasized over moral imperatives. The idea is that leaders must do what is necessary to secure the survival and success of their state, regardless of whether those actions align with ideals like justice or equality. Realpolitik doesn't sugarcoat the messiness of international politics. It acknowledges that nations often act out of self-interest, engaging in power struggles, military conflicts, and alliances that further their own survival or ambitions. The 19th century German statesman Otto von Bismarck was a key figure in the development of Realpolitik. Bismarck's political approach was deeply influenced by Machiavellian thought. He united Germany in the 1860s and 1870s through a series of diplomatic maneuvers, opportunistic alliances, and military campaigns, all driven by the goal of securing the position of the Prussian state. Though Bismarck's policies were not without ethical controversy, his success in unifying Germany demonstrated the utility of Realpolitik. He proved that the pursuit of power, even through morally questionable means, could lead to the creation of strong states that could dominate the international stage. This success only reinforced the idea that the Machiavellian concept of power, if wielded with skill and foresight, could be used to craft the modern world order. Fast forward to the present day, and Machiavelli's legacy remains woven into the fabric of modern international relations. As geopolitics continue to evolve, Realpolitik has become an enduring feature of both domestic and global politics. But what does Realpolitik look like today? Consider the tactics of world leaders in the 21st century. Political decisions are often made with an eye toward national interest, with less concern for universal moral principles or ideological purity. In the pursuit of power, leaders regularly employ strategies such as economic coercion, military interventions, espionage, and diplomatic manipulation. Take the example of modern-day superpowers like the United States, Russia, and China. These nations employ Realpolitik in their global interactions, often acting pragmatically to further their national interests, even when such actions challenge international law or human rights standards. The US and Russia have, for instance, played strategic games with their respective military interventions in the Middle East. Decisions that are not always rooted in humanitarian ideals, but rather in securing geopolitical advantage. Similarly, China's growing influence in Africa and other developing regions is a prime example of Realpolitik at play. Beijing's investments in infrastructure, strategic military bases, and political alliances serve to expand China's power globally, all while downplaying the moral implications of its approach. This reflects the Machiavellian philosophy of prioritizing state interests and power over moral concerns. Machiavelli's ideas were not solely concerned with monarchies or dictatorships. They also had implications for republics. In fact, some scholars argue that Machiavelli was ahead of his time in predicting the rise of modern democracies. His belief in the necessity of a strong leader was predicated on the notion that power, even in democratic systems, must be wielded with a deep understanding of human nature and the fickleness of fortune. While Machiavelli's principles seem to align with autocratic rule, his emphasis on pragmatism can also be applied to democracies. In a world where populist leaders, political polarization, and ideological warfare often dominate the political sphere, we see echoes of Machiavellian Realpolitik. Political leaders may manipulate public opinion, engage in media manipulation, or exploit crises for political gain, just as Machiavelli would have advised. In the modern world, politicians sometimes find themselves balancing between moral obligations and pragmatic decisions, which can be a difficult task, especially in democratic systems where public opinion is paramount. However, Machiavelli would likely argue that maintaining power and stability, whether through manipulation or tough decisions, is more important than adhering to ethical standards. Machiavelli's legacy is far from being just a relic of the past. His theories, particularly regarding power, leadership, and strategy, continue to inform how nations interact, how leaders govern, and how power is exercised in the modern world. The core tenets of Machiavellian thought, cunning, pragmatism, and the ruthless pursuit of political stability, are alive and well in today's global politics. In the end, Realpolitik may not be pretty, but it is undeniably effective. And while we may not always agree with Machiavelli's methods or his cynical view of human nature, his analysis of power remains one of the most relevant and enduring contributions to political thought. If you found this exploration of Machiavelli's influence on modern politics interesting, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. We have plenty more insightful discussions on history, politics, and philosophy that you won't want to miss. Join the unfolding journey and continue to dive deeper into the world of power, strategy, and the minds that shaped history.